Welcome to Pass the Blue Milk, the podcast where we take a deep dive into the canon Star Wars comic books. I'm Jessica.
And I am Chris. And today's episode, our first episode ever, welcome to everyone. We are taking a look at Age of the Republic, Qui Gon #1 from 2018.
I guess before we go any further, I should mention that we're following the list from comicbookreadingorders.com.
Yes, excellent list.
And we're also skipping the High Republic comics at this point because they're ongoing.
Correct.
So, back to you, Chris.
Back to me. And in sports. No. All right, now this was written by Miss Jody Hauser, who has a not a very long list of credentials. But however, she has written some many interesting comics and ones that are coming up, and most of them are extremely good that I've read. She wrote the miniseries Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy from DC. She also wrote Supergirl, some of Supergirl before it got canceled in 2021, I believe.
Okay.
She's writing the upcoming, which I'm looking forward to, Miss Marvel and Wolverine miniseries matchup from Marvel Comics.
Miss Marvel and Wolverine?
Miss Marvel and Wolverine, yes.
I've not heard of that. That's an interesting
yes,
mashup.
Is. I think it comes out, what is today? Yes, August 9th, Tuesday, August 9th. And as of this recording, this comic has not been released yet.
Okay.
I believe it comes out either tomorrow or next Wednesday. She also wrote a miniseries for Black Widow, and she is an Eisner-nominated writer for her book Faith.
Okay, yeah.
That was, I believe it was from Dark Horse Comics. I'll have to get back to you on that. But anyways, or Valiant. And she was nominated for an Eisner Award for this.
Which, that's an awesome book, because it's a plus size.
Yes,
main character, which is nice to see.
Yes, they don't have the 24 abs like a lot of characters.
24 abs.
If those of you who are listening, and I'm sure most of you listening are familiar with what the Eisners are, but some people may not be, so I'll go and explain. In a nutshell, the Eisner Awards is basically the Emmys for comic books. It's they nominate for Best Artist, Best New Series. They even have one for Best Comic Book Shop of the Year.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, so who knows?
Maybe we'll get one of those.
Maybe we will. So it was written by Jody Hauser, but it was inked and artist by two people. The first one was Wilton Santos, who penciled Dr. Aphra from Marvel, Excalibur.
Oh, so we'll be reading those.
Yes, we will. So we'll see him again.
Yeah.
And also Maestro. Maestro is the Incredible Hulk of the future.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And the other artist on this was a guy by the name of Corey Smith, who most people have never heard of, and it's unfortunate because I think that Corey Smith is one of the most underrated and better artists out there that's still producing stuff. He's currently writing Immortal Hulk, which is excellent. Ghost Rider, who I haven't had a chance to read, but I've heard nothing but good things.
Okay.
Captain Marvel, and a couple other ones that are not very well known. One's called The Avengers. You may or may not have heard of that comic book. And
little known Avengers.
A little known guy, and a guy that's very, very obscure that most people have no idea who it is. A guy by the comic book by the name of Amazing Spider-Man.
I knew Spider-Man was coming.
Yeah. Have you heard of him?
Maybe.
Once or twice?
Yeah. I think he might be my favorite.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I think he's got a couple movies out.
Yeah, movies, books, all kinds of stuff.
Yes.
Merchandise.
Yeah, a little bit of it. I can either.
Did he do like the color of this comic book? Because this particular comic book, Qui Gon #1, is very colorful.
It is.
It's beautiful.
It is very colorful. It was colored by a gentleman by the name of I don't know if it's Java or Java. It's Java Tartaglia. So it's either Java or Java Tartaglia.
Okay.
If somebody wants to write in or whatever, send an email. Tell me what the pronunciation is. I would appreciate that. I mean, no offense. But yes, that's one thing that struck me was the coloring of it, except especially like in a couple of the panels of like the Coruscant with the sun coming over.
The Coruscant, and then when he I guess it's an unnamed planet. We're getting ahead. Spoilers, but when he goes to that planet that's very colorful, and then it has a little darkness in it.
Yes, it's Yes.
I
So
don't think it has a name. I don't think it was
I don't
named.
think it wasn't named.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was extremely colorful, and the coloring on that was extremely good.
Yeah. Okay. So getting in, are those all the facts you have for us?
That's all the facts I have for now.
I like that though.
I'll probably make up something on the way out.
Make up some.
Yeah, as we
Make
go.
up.
Yes. I'll go with alternative facts.
I was like, I don't think that's a fact.
It is, because if I say it is.
Okay. All right. So, are we ready to jump in?
Yeah. Let's go for it.
Okay. So this book starts off on the planet. We don't really know the pronunciation of this. Bryn.
It's B-R-Y. B-R-I apostrophe N.
Yes.
So it's Bryn.
Yeah.
Bryn.
But it's a forest planet that's inhabited by a horned humanoid species.
Correct.
And this is where we are introduced to Qui Gon. I will say, going into this book, before we really get into it, I kind of expected it to be a further prequel to episode 1,
Right.
you know, because we don't really know a lot about Qui Gon. You know, he's there,
Yes.
but there's not a lot that we know about him before episode 1. So I guess going into this book, I don't know about you, but I expected us to be further before episode 1.
Right.
But when we start this, we're basically right before.
Yeah, I would say within a past year, maybe 2.
Yeah.
Of episode 1.
I mean, I guess I could look. It would probably tell me exactly.
Yeah,
when.
It's fine. It's
But this planet that they start out on, this is the only appearance of this planet.
correct.
I looked that up on Wikipedia.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So we see Qui-Gon is on the planet,
Mm-hmm.
and he is helping Mistress Thayer. She's the priestess of wood. He's helping her defend her planet against, I think they call it the Metal Clan.
Metal Clan, yeah.
And then we have Obi-Wan is in the ship.
Correct.
So we're basically coming in at like the height of this battle.
Negotiations didn't work out.
Yes.
Yes.
What do they call it? Aggressive
negotiation.
Yeah,
yes.
aggressive negotiations. So they aren't working, and Qui-Gon's like, get us out of here.
Right.
And so Obi-Wan comes to get them. But that priestess...
Well, he she didn't like the fact that he chose to retreat.
Right.
I guess that she wanted him to just go and basically kick ass and take names and kill everybody.
Yeah.
Which is not the Jedi way. And he mentioned the fact that a little bit later, I'll tell you what, I'll stop here. You keep going.
Yeah.
And then I'll tell you what I was getting ready.
So basically, at this point, so Obi-Wan comes with the ship. He rescues Qui-Gon, Mistress Thayer, from the battle. She's upset, like you said.
Yeah.
She expected more. Because she mentions once they get up into the ship, I thought Jedi were great warriors.
Right.
And I think you had a little bit to expand on
Yes,
that.
as they go on, she thought they were great warriors, and she accused him of cowardice. After that, they go to Coruscant, and he's talking. Master Yoda comes to him and says, he's like, I sense troubled feelings in you. And Qui-Gon basically says that it was troubling him the fact that she called him a coward and accused him of cowardice, and that did not bother him. But what did bother him is when she said that she expected them to be great warriors and wanted them to kill everybody. And he's like, that's not the Jedi way.
Right.
And that's the part that really kind of struck me. That was a very powerful line.
Exactly.
And they go to Coruscant, which is, as we know, is all metal, and she is less than impressed.
Yes. She's like, you just took me from the metal clan that I was fighting, and you bring me to this metal planet.
Exactly.
And that's not her thing.
That's not her jam. No.
Yeah, she basically goes and finds the only living trees and things on Coruscant, and is like, well, I guess I'll just be here with this living thing.
Yes. Now our organs. Our background noise is brought to you by our Cane Corso, Mr. Alfred Pennyworth.
Yeah.
So if you hear any chewing in the background, or ripping in the background, that's him with his toy. That's the only thing that we could get with a toy we could give him that didn't have too many decibels to interfere. And he will not leave our feet.
No,
he will not. I was really impressed with the artwork, especially the drawing of Master Yoda. Master Yoda is not an easy character to draw. Right. By any means, with all the details and everything, and it really they really put like a lot of extra effort into him, and it really showed. Yeah. I was very impressed by that, and Yoda was pretty much on brand for this comic. As he was for everything.
He definitely says what you expect him to say.
Yes. Oh,
and
yeah, for sure.
there's no surprises with Yoda.
No, there's no surprises in this.
So yeah, so Qui-Gon is on Coruscant. Like you said, he goes to Master Yoda, is like, I feel conflicted.
Right.
You know, like you mentioned, it wasn't her calling him a coward that bothered him, but her calling him a great warrior.
Right.
Because he doesn't feel that's what the Jedi should be. And,
even though he was.
Huh?
Even though he was.
Yes. We're going to talk about, we might bring in movies, shows, books that we've read. So if you do not like spoilers, just turn off the podcast, okay? Because I'm about to mention something else, but
yeah, because we're not going to be reviewing stuff that's like coming out as we go. So I mean, this is from 2018.
Yeah.
So,
but I mean, like, I want to talk about these comic books in the context of what we already know about Star Wars.
Sure, yeah.
And you know, we've read books, we've watched pretty much all the shows that there are to watch.
As I would expect most of the people that have read this.
Yes.
Or even are interested in reading it.
But what I was going to say is I feel like this theme of the Jedi being conflicted about being called warriors is a theme throughout the prequels.
It is.
I just read the Brotherhood book with Obi-Wan and Anakin, and that comes up several times in that book as well. Yes. So this is a recurring theme throughout this period of time in Star Wars.
Yes, which brings up another thing. You know, the great warriors is a common theme. A lot of people pick up on it. Is that the Jedi very much kind of lost their way in the Clone Wars, and it begs to ask the question, in my opinion, that what would Qui-Gon, what would his opinion, how would he reacted during the Clone Wars? I don't think that he would have been completely for it.
No.
Mace Windu. And actually, after that, Yoda were probably the two most militant ones. Mace Windu didn't survive to see the end of going his way, or maybe he did. We don't know yet. We'll find out one day, and we'll see that purple lightsaber.
Speculation.
Maybe we'll see that purple lightsaber again one day. Maybe we won't.
Oh, sorry, I'm gonna get off on a tangent there, but can you imagine if it was just like a dark scene, and all of a sudden you see this purple lightsaber coming out? Yeah. I mean.
Yes,
that would be freaking crazy.
It would be. Yes, it would. That would be fantastic.
So I'm gonna bring us back around here.
Sure. Yeah. That's fine.
You know, what we're talking about does go along with this, but at this point, Qui-Gon, like we said, he's questioning what the Jedi are doing, and he decides, like most Jedi, to let the Force take him somewhere,
right,
and tell him, you know, what he should know, or you know, kind of guide him. I mean, we see this with Luke. We see this with Rey. Like, this is just part of the Jedi way.
Yeah.
Is
he basically gets in his ship. He's like, Jesus, take the wheel.
So this is where we were talking about earlier when we were talking about the colorful nature of the illustrations and everything, that he ends up on this planet. It's not named.
It's very pretty. It's almost like pastel type.
Yeah, it
colors.
Looks like underwater. Yeah, doesn't
kinda.
it? Like kind of like coral and kind of that kind of plant life. But of course, you know, he's walking along, it's talking through the thoughts in his head, and he looks at how beautiful it is, but there's a darkness, which is what we, you know, see a lot when the Jedi are trying to find their way in this same kind of instance. But it looks like he goes into the darkness. He says, perhaps this is how I find out what I need to know. Maybe in this dark place. And then there's these creatures coming at him. I'm assuming this is all visions.
Yeah, I think it's visions. It's
similar to how like Luke saw Darth Vader.
I'm thinking about yeah, very similar type. Kind of like Force visions, if you will.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of like we saw a bit of with Rey in The Last Jedi.
Yep.
So,
but then it looks like these visions, like he's fighting them. He's fighting them off, and at some point he looks down, and these visions have turned into, from what I can tell, they're Jedi.
Yeah, it looks like the Jedi. You see, one looks like he's human, the other one looks like he's Zabrak, and the other one is a Twi'lek.
Yep.
It appears, and I'm not sure what the race of that.
I'm not sure that one either. But he looks down at his hands. He sees, you know, his lightsaber in his hand.
Right.
He realizes like, oh my gosh, what have I done? But then, you know, realizes this is not real.
Right.
And then this is a I like this quote here, because he, in his mind, he says, just a vision, but what did it And then he says, the light found its way in.
Yes.
The light found its way into the darkness.
Correct.
And that brought balance.
Correct.
Which is what his major thing is.
Yeah, agreed. It's about balance, and I think it goes a lot deeper into that. But I'll hold off on that thought until we get to the end.
So he says, violence sows the seeds of the dark side. Unchecked, the Jedi could become that which we fight against. So he realizes that, yes, they're warriors, but they do have to keep that darkness at bay.
Yeah,
so that they don't become what they're fighting against.
Not to be a little on the nose here, but a necessary evil.
Yeah.
That's what I got from that.
So then he travels back to Coruscant and meets back up with the mistress. And he says basically there are people here that can be your ally.
Right.
And help you get your planet back, basically.
Right.
But she's like, more outsiders to strip our world of everything we value, you mean? Like, she doesn't want outsiders. She wants to be able to handle this
right.
without bringing outside forces. But sometimes you do need...
You have to, yeah.
Allies.
You do.
Yeah. I like this line, too, that he says, there are people from 1,000 worlds on Coruscant, worlds that have faced similar struggles. So he's basically telling her, like, you're not alone. You're not alone in this. And this place here has other people who have gone through the same thing who can help you.
Which she agrees.
Yeah.
She agrees to that reluctantly, but
I was gonna say she's a little reluctant because it's like very well.
It's change.
Yeah.
Just like nobody likes change. People don't like change.
And some people, sometimes you don't think that you need help, or you feel alone in whatever you're experiencing, and it's hard to imagine that somebody is experiencing the same thing.
Yes.
But sometimes that's what you need.
Exactly, because I guarantee you, there is not a single thought that has gone in anybody's head that has never gone into a person's head before them.
Right.
It happens, no matter from the happiest to the most dire and desperate thoughts that have crept in people's heads every day. Somebody before you has had that thought at one point or time. Mm-hmm. So, people aren't as unique. I mean, there's 9 billion of us on this planet, I think, or something like that. It's a crazy number. So, that's 9 billion people having thoughts. I guarantee you there's somebody right now that's having the exact same thought that you are.
Yeah. And then Qui-Gon goes back and talks to Yoda about, Yoda asks, answers did you find? I did. This is funny too. Qui-Gon says, I did. And as often is with the Force, more questions.
Yes.
So we found some answers, but it leads to more questions, and it's just a cycle.
It is. But the best answers bring up a bit more questions.
Yeah.
That's what learning is all about.
Exactly. So he tells Yoda basically, what is our purpose if not balance? That's how the book ends.
Yeah.
And I feel like it leads right into episode 1 for him, for Qui-Gon.
Yeah, very well could. I got a lot of this hidden message from the thing. They're at the Mistress of the Woods is at odds. She wants basically to save all the trees.
Yep.
Whereas the people that she is fighting wants to take all the trees, but you got to find balance. In my opinion, this was a kind of a essay on the destruction that we're doing on our planet as we speak. The Amazon forest is being stripped at a rate that's, it's unsustainable. We're for natural resources, oil, petroleum, natural gas, coal, strip mining, fracking, and everything is completely destroying this planet. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't make them evil. And for all those things, for technology to increase this is the message I'm getting from this, is that you do need that, but you need to find a balance.
Balance, yeah.
You can use all the paper and all the trees that you want, but if you got to replace them. Right. So it's basically saying that there are many people out there in the world that are in power in this world right now who are so much don't care about the planet, the immediate now. They're satisfying the id of their personalities, and they really don't care what they're doing to the planet. On the other side, you have everybody who's like, no nukes, no nuclear power, no this, no that, no this, no that, and just want nothing but communes and forests and stuff like that. Neither one of those are sustainable. But if you find a balance between the two, you could really, really do wonderful things, but you got to be able to work together. Mm-hmm. You got to be willing to compromise. And that's the message that I got from this is what Miss Hauser was trying to say, is that you got to find balance. That no, you don't want this planet Earth to be completely metal like Coruscant, but then again, it can't be all trees like Bryn was.
Yeah.
You got to have a balance, and it is doable if people are just able and willing to work together.
Right.
Especially the willing part. That's the message that I got from this.
Yeah.
From this comic.
And how do you feel that this book fits into the rest of Star Wars as you know it?
Well, the rest of Star Wars as we know it, like I talked a little bit on before I stopped there. Qui-Gon was really one of the last. He was an idealist. Mm-hmm. He knew the dangers of Jedi becoming basically known as warriors. They're peacekeepers. They were never warriors. When the Clone Wars happened, Yoda lost his way, Mace Windu lost his way, and the other ones lost their way because they got too involved in the politics of the time, which is basically separatists versus the Republic. They're known became the Empire. I don't think that Qui-Gon would have gone along with the Clone Wars.
I agree with you. I think reading this and then even thinking of who he was in The Phantom Menace.
Yes.
He was very soft-spoken. He wanted to negotiate. He wanted to talk more than fight.
Yes.
And I think that and I think you see that in the fact that Obi-Wan was his Padawan, in how Obi-Wan thinks of the Clone Wars and having the title of like General.
Yeah.
You know, like he didn't like having that title, and you can tell that some of that probably comes from being trained by Qui-Gon.
Right. Honestly, I think the character that Qui-Gon has a lot in common with later was Count Dooku, because they were both idealists. Now, Count Dooku was corrupted.
Yeah.
And became Darth Tyrannus.
Yes.
Yes, Darth Tyrannus. And I don't think Qui-Gon Jinn would have been able to be corrupted, but I do think that Count Dooku started off as an idealist.
Yeah.
That was just corrupted, because they have a lot of similarities in that, and it's and that one scene was a very powerful scene in the Clone Wars is when Count Dooku is talking to Obi-Wan, who was kidnapped at the time, and explained to him, and the best lies are the ones that have truth intermingled with.
Yeah.
So they were some of the stuff he was saying was true, some of it was lies. Those are the best.
Yeah.
Or worse, depending on your point. If you're the liar or the lie.
Yeah. The lie.
Lie.
Is that a word?
I doubt it. But
I wonder if he would have gone the way of like Ahsoka.
It's possible.
But there, something specific happened to Ahsoka as well to make her leave. But who knows?
Yes. But Qui-Gon was also misinformed because he was convinced that Anakin was the one to bring balance to the Force.
Yeah.
He was convinced of that. And you can't really blame him because all the evidence was pointing to that at the time. I think he just wanted it too much, and therefore he passed it on to Anakin, Obi-Wan, who failed to see, what was happening.
Yeah, he's like, Obi-Wan, you have to train him. He's the chosen one, that kind of thing.
Right.
And that weighed on Obi-Wan as well.
Agreed.
What would you rate this book out of 5?
I will give this book about a 4.
Okay.
4 out of 5. We'll give it a 4. We'll give it a 4 Luke Skywalkers.
4 Luke Skywalkers.
Out of 5, yes. The artwork I would say was definitely a solid 4, 4.5. The writing was a solid 4. I tend to be a little bit more conservative in my rankings. I save the 5s for something very special. But yeah, I'd give it about a 4, maybe a 4.2.
Right.
Out of 5. You?
I'm gonna say story-wise, probably a 4. I think you can glean a lot of information from it with it only being one book.
Right.
It's kind of hard. I was going to go a little lower, but then I'm also like, it's just one book.
It's just one book,
yeah.
It was good.
The artwork, I would probably give it a 4.5. I really like the style and the colors and everything like that.
It's very good, and it holds up over time.
It does.
So it's very good. It's a very good read. I really enjoyed it.
I would love for somebody to go back and create like a prequel series so we can learn more about Qui-Gon. Unless I'm missing something, I'm sure somebody could tell us.
Yes, I'm sure there's.
I'm sure maybe there's a book or something that I don't know about. Yeah. I haven't read all the books, but I feel like I have a pretty good idea of what's out there. But maybe I'm missing something. But there's not, as far as I know, there's not a whole lot about Qui-Gon.
Not really. And he's a character that not a whole lot is out there on him.
Yeah.
But there is enough to get to know the character.
Yeah.
So.
I love reading the books and the comic books and how they kind of enhance the the movies and the shows, and it makes the story feel more complete, but the story is still like ongoing. There's so much stuff that can be added.
Agreed.
So, okay.
All right.
That's our first episode. We're going to do this weekly.
Try to, yes, weekly. We're going to try to do it, record it on every Tuesday that we can, unless I get called in for overtime at work. But generally speaking, that should be able to do it every Monday or Tuesday of every week, and we'll probably putting them out every
probably like Saturday or
Friday, Saturday. Yeah,
okay.
I would think.
Well, we'll get on a routine, but
we will.
I'm hoping this will keep going. We have so many books to read,
yes, we
so
do.
We have lots of content.
Yes, we do.
So our next episode, we will be reading the Darth Maul miniseries from 2017. There's 5 books, and we're gonna review all of those books, so that whole story.
The whole story, yeah.
Okay. And then going forward, when we have series that are like 12 books or something like that, we're gonna split them up into like probably 3 episodes of 4 books apiece or something.
Yeah. I mean, and there's some episodes that have been started rebooted, like the Charles Soule Star Wars comics started in like 2016. Those have started a couple times, different stories.
Okay.
Of course, there is the Star Wars series going on right now. Dr. Aphra is a series going on right now.
Yeah, when we get later on into the reading order, there's some long... I mean, Darth Vader is a long series.
Yes, it is.
We're going to have a lot of those. And maybe we will review new shows that are released on Disney+. That's a big maybe. But we've talked about that as well. But this is definitely our ongoing series here on Pass the Blue Milk.
Yes, it is.
All right. See you next time.
See you next time. Thank you very much for your listening, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks.